Yes?
Yes. I am hardly surprised. Very well. As you wish.
There you are. Wanted to talk to you. You and I, you know how sometimes you spend time with people and things. I was thinking, I do know some people out here on the surface. A person, actually. A girl I knew in Orzammar. Before I left, obviously. What? Oh, you mean were we rutting? Oh, aye. After Bronca left for the deep roads. Name's Felsi. She was a fiery one. I'm sure she's forgiven me by now. Thought maybe I'd track her down, see how she's been living. What? Why are you asking me? I didn't do anything. Last I heard, she was gonna live with her mother on the surface, near some lake. Clean Bad Lake, was it? Yeah, I sod it, I don't remember. No, I think it was Clean Bad. I remember because I thought, yeah, that's right. Dirty good, clean bad. Yeah. But thanks for offering to take us there. You're a good friend, Warden. No, what was it you wanted to say? You want to be a berserker? Thought I'd never see the day. No, see, it's funny because you'll never be able to do it. A mage wants to be a berserker? But if you know someone fit for this type of work, I'll teach him. It'll be nice to have another berserker to grunt at for a change. What the sod is there to know? You get mad, you fly into battle, and things die. It's pretty simple. The hard part is getting in touch with your rage. We all learn to hold that back. It's why we don't kill every duster who looks at us sideways. You need to shut that off. For some people, being in battle is enough. But others have to think about something. Violence, monsters, nobles, your wife, whatever. Aye, especially my wife. Why not? When you fight, you get mad. By the stone, it's a sodding tactic to enrage your enemy so he makes a mistake, right? Berserkers grab that anger and drink it like it's yesterday's ale. Then we turn it against our foes and watch the limbs fly. Well, for most berserkers it does. Several years ago, I worked with a berserker on one expedition. Just couldn't work himself up. We had to kick him in the stones before he could get going. I'm listening. What about? Oh, sure. I'm fine with it. I mean, she was a real firebrand between the sheets, but a bit soft in the skull, you know what I mean? Explains why she left, anyway. Oh, you don't know her. She was cracked like a glass floor. Before she was a paragon, I mean. After that, she really fell apart. I mean, she leaves me and flits about with that water-tart Hespit. What's she got that I don't? Just the thought of the two of them together, kissing and licking and intertwined on the floor of the deep roads. Yeah, I'm just gonna go back to the tent for a moment. Excuse me. Come to talk to old Ogren, have you? Don't know why. Nothing. I'm fine. Just, I got a hornet in my eye is all. Did you want to talk about something? What the sod is there to know? You get mad, you fly into battle, and things die. It's pretty simple. The hard part is getting in touch with your rage. We all learn to hold that back. It's why we don't kill every duster who looks at us sideways. You need to shut that off. For some people, being in battle is enough. But others have to think about something. Violence, monsters, nobles, your wife, whatever. I'm listening. What about? It's sodding great. At first I was a little queasy with all that air, but there's just so much of it. No one has any idea who you are or what you're doing. And the ale? Oh, who'd have thought? Ale made with grain. Aye, the surface is great. It's like a big, bright world of filth without a ceiling. My kind of place. Hey, let's go find something to kill, huh? All this talk makes my hands twitchy. Pull up a drink, Warden. Join me in my sodding hole. What about? What? Miss Orzammar? Are you mad, in addition to being ugly? They treated me like a puddle fly back there. I'm never going back. All right. Aye, all right then. I got a moment, sure. What about? You get a sword or an axe, and are told to go out and defend your city. It's the best thing in the world. That is until you try to live in the city you saved. I mean, they train you to kill, teach you to harness your rage at the first noise you hear, then try to set 100 sodding rules about it. Like those provings. Ancestors show their favor through the strongest arm, right? So why so many rules saying how to fight and when you win and not to bloody kill? Killing's what swords are for. You can kill with blunted weapons, Warden. Well, maybe you can't. This makes me cranky. Don't you have any other inane questions? All right. Aye, all right then. I got a moment, sure. What about? All right.
Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind?
Is there something you need? I will answer to the best of my ability.
Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
Something on your mind? Yes, me too. And I got the feeling at the end there that it saw us, was aware of us, whatever you want to call it. Could have just been my imagination, I suppose. What do you think? You know how some people want to be right all the time? Me, not so much. I guess one thing is certain at least, isn't it? It's official. This is a blight. Something on your mind? Of course. Something on your mind? Of course. Such as they are. About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Something on your mind?
I have a question for it, if it will indulge me. My understanding is that it encountered the smith named Caradin, he who was responsible for the creation of the golems, that he had become a golem himself. What I do not know is what became of him. Why did he not return with it? I would have many questions for him. He killed himself? Ah, I would doubt it, but no, I see it is telling the truth. May I ask what became of the Anvil of the Void, assuming that it too still existed? Then it was no doubt for the best. With Caradin also goes any chance I might have had of finding answers on my past, I assume. Tell me, did it find out anything from Caradin? Anything at all about how I might have been made? Meaning that I was once a living creature? That seems highly unlikely, and more than a little insulting. Is it certain? Was I forced into this? Or simply glad to abandon a frail body? And more importantly, who was I? I simply must know. I cannot help but believe that answers lie elsewhere in the deep roads. We must look. Yes, no, I don't know. If it can search the deep roads, I may remember something. If not, then I will have to wait. It speaks. It doesn't have better things to do on.
Yes? So, full of questions, are you? Yes?
We're in camp, so 'tis as good.
Ah, such a romance.
On your order, Grey Warden. The Jarl was generous, but rushed. Certain areas could see improvement. We're a mercenary force, Warden. Much of our equipment is self-financed. Were you to commit additional funds, we'd upgrade as we saw the need. On your order, Grey Warden. We have veterans in command and the fury of youth at our back. We will be ready.
Orzammar has sent her best, Warden. It has been a long time since the Dwarven army has marched on the surface. Outfitting any army on short notice, there's always room for more gear. Gems would serve the most utility. The Middlestone, sapphires and the like. We're dealing with many smaller foundries, and larger values might overwhelm.
The Circle of Magi stands ready to assist, Grey Warden, as do the Templars of the Chantry. There are always areas to improve on, Grey Warden. The most useful for my talents are runes.
Enchantment?
You and your friends are formidable folk, indeed. It's good to have you along on the road. I'm sure you'll be...
Generous gift. Thank you ever so much. A generous gift. Thank you ever so much.
Unexpected. Thank you. I am impressed. My thanks. Unexpected. Thank you.
Oh, marvelous. What's on your mind? Oh, yes, and thank you for asking. I'm feeling much better today. Well, thank you for your kindness, my dear. It certainly warms these rickety old bones. What's on your mind? I will answer to the best of...
You are not quite as callow as I thought. That is unexpected. You sound surprised. You must have heard this before. You'll get over it. Eventually. I caged myself. A weak mind is a deadly foe, as you are no doubt aware. I did. Is it a human saying, no good deed goes unpunished? They saved my life. You could say that. Had they not shown me compassion, they would still live. I came to your lands with 7 of the Beresad, my brothers, to seek answers about the Blight. We made our way across the Ferelden countryside without incident, seeing nothing of the threat we were sent to observe. Until the night we camped by Lake Calenhad. They came from everywhere. The earth beneath our feet, the air above us. Our own shadows harbored the Darkspawn. I saw the last of the creatures cut down, too late. I fell. I am told no others survived. I don't know how long I lay on the battlefield among the dead, nor do I know how the farmers found me. I only know that when I woke I was no longer among my brothers, and my sword was gone from my hand. Perhaps. I searched for it, and when that failed I asked my rescuers what had become of it. I killed them. With my bare hands. I did. I knew they didn't have the blade. They had no reason to lie to me. I panicked. Unthinking, I struck them down. That sword was made for my hand alone. I have carried it from the day I was set into the Beresad. I was to die wielding it for my people. Even if I could cross Ferelden and Tevinter unarmed and alone to bring my report to the Arishok, I would be slain on sight by the Antam. They would know me as soulless, a deserter. No soldier would cast aside his blade while he drew breath. If I knew where to look, it would be in my hand now. Near Lake Calenhad. Perhaps those words are empty, but thank you all the same.
I shall treasure it. Thank you. That smell. This is uneven leather, isn't it? I would know that anywhere. I don't know how you found it, but thank you. Now, if only you could find me a prostitute or two, a bowl of fish chowder, and a corrupt politician, I'd really feel like I was home. And the feet as well. Marvelous! You have excellent taste. I've a question, if I may. Well, here's the thing. I swore an oath to serve you, yes? And I understand the quest you're on, and this is all very fine and well. My question pertains to what you intend to do with me once this business is over with, as a point of curiosity. Not precisely. I said I would serve you until you saw fit to release me. One simply assumes that once your Grey Warden business is finished, you would have no need of an assassin to follow you about. Am I wrong? Indeed. I might even be glad to call myself such, come to think of it. It is good to know what my options might be, but that is for another time. For now, we have much to do, yes? What say you? I could teach others, but not yourself. First, I would need someone who has training as a rogue. That is, unless you would care to spend the years it takes to gain the fundamentals. But if there should be such a person who desires this training, yes, by all means, send them to me. The crows are already furious, no? I shall enjoy tweaking their nose further. What say you? By all means. My adventures? I'm hardly an old man just returned from across the ocean, am I? Should I shake my fist at nearby children while I talk about the good old days? Falling down a flight of stairs is an adventure. Falling into someone's bed, also an adventure. I am assuming what you're looking for are professional anecdotes. Let's see, my second mission ever for the Crows was a bit intriguing. I was sent to kill a mage who had been meddling in politics. In Antiva, nobody is too important to escape the reach of the Crows. They've killed kings and queens. That is simply how it is. As it turned out, the mage in question was quite a delightful young woman. Long, divine legs, as I recall. I caught her in a carriage on her way to escape to the provinces. After I killed her guard, she got down on her hands and knees and begged for her life. Rather aptly, I might add. So I joined her in the carriage for the night and left the next morning. Well, yes, twice, actually. Then she decided to try and use me instead. The woman had actually convinced me to speak to the Crows on her behalf. What can I say? I was young and foolish at the time. Then, as I was kissing her goodbye to return to Antiva City, she slipped on the threshold and fell backwards out of the carriage. Broke her neck. Shame, really, but at least it happened quickly. At first, yes. Well, not upset. Surprised is really a better word. Then I found out that she had told the driver to take her to Janellen instead. She had planned to lose me in the provinces. I would have looked very foolish to the Crows. As it was, my master was very impressed that I had done such a fine job of making it look like an accident. The Circle of Magi was unaware of foul play, and everyone was happier all around. Like being spared by a benevolent mark who then helps me escape from the Crows? Yes, it does seem to happen now and again, doesn't it? It was after that when I learned that one needn't let a pretty face go to your head. Professionalism was key. That's my moral of the day, you see. And one that not everyone learns, I'm sad to say. But that's enough tale spinning from me for the moment. Talking about the mage has made me a bit nostalgic, I'm afraid. Ah, the good old days. What say you? By all means. Again? Well now, what might interest you, I wonder? Shall I describe the stages involved with Lanthrax poisoning? I watched a man go through all 7 once. Haha, you have rather macabre tastes, I see. I like that. Let's see. How about the largest battle I ever took part in? That would have been the slaughter of Prince Osrin. Did you hear of that down in these parts? Me? Not personally, but I did take part in the attack. Prince Osrin was fourth in line to the throne, you see. He started off as 11th, but worked his way up the old-fashioned method by inheriting control of an entire Crocell from his grandfather. After assassinating his way through the royal family, the king hired 3 other cells to take down Prince Osrin once and for all. I was in one of those cells. Antivan royalty is very much bound up in the Crows. You wouldn't want it run by a bunch of commoners, after all, would you? And this means they get involved in politics quite often. This particular fight nearly bankrupted the nation, I understand. It almost ended up putting a Crow on the throne, a commoner. But that's a whole different story. I played a very small part. My part in the entire battle was taken up trying to reach Princess Verina, who had thrown in with her brother. I killed about 11 of her guards personally before I got knocked out of a window. I landed in a river and nearly drowned. I was fished out by some urchins who robbed me blind. Made off with my boots, too. At least they didn't cut my throat. And that was my part in history. I had to find my way back to the safe house, bruised and naked, and thankful to be alive. But there you go. Tale told. Let's be off before I tell more embarrassing stories, huh? What say you? By all means. Well, the only one that's really worth telling is the story of the mission right before I came to Ferelden. But no, I would rather not. I shouldn't have said anything. Nothing that I would prefer to speak of. Perhaps another day, I'm sorry.
You called. I am hardly surprised. To put it lightly, no one has a place here. Our farmers wish to be merchants. The merchants dream of being nobles, and the nobles become warriors. No one is content to be who they are. What does that accomplish? The farmer who buys a shop is never a merchant. He is always a farmer turned merchant. He carries his old life with him as a turtle carries its shell. Happiness is fragile. Nothing can be built upon it that will last. Only duty endures. You can learn to find it in doing your duty, in serving your people. There is no need to search for it. Shall we move on? There is interesting food here. You have a thing. It doesn't have a word in the Kunari tongue. Little baked things like bread, but sweet and crumbly. Yes, we have no such things in our lands. This should be remedied. Perhaps. It's strange to be in a crowd and hear a language that is not your own. To see faces that are and aren't like yours. I miss the smells of Saharon. Tea and incense and the sea. Ferelden smells of wet dogs. Skunks don't mind the smell of other skunks either. Shall we move on? As you wish.
What's on your mind? I will answer to the best.
I am grateful. 'Tis thoughtful indeed. I am grateful. 'Tis thoughtful indeed. A fine gift. You have my thanks.
Oh, marvelous.
Tis cold in my tent, all alone. So you shall come to my tent? But whatever shall we do in that tiny little space together while we wait for it to warm? Good. Then let us waste no more time with foolish talk. I see the stories they tell of Grey Warden endurance are not exaggerated. Indeed there are. The unanswered question, of course, is whether the endurance exists because of the taint within you, or because the Grey Wardens are by nature so very healthy. I enjoy the thought that 'tis a little of both. Natural prowess, driven by a darker side. That is entirely up to you. Simply know that I have no designs on your independence. I wish only to do what I desire, and if that coincides with what you desire, then so be it. And should you decide not to continue our misadventure, then so be it. Very simple, is it not? Oh, now you ruin the mood by speaking profanities. Silly man. Come then, let us be off before the others begin to stare.
I totally forgot that happened. I'm just getting annoyed by every time I come back to the camp how my character's, the warden, speaks to her. She has nothing to say though, so forgot about that. It's been a while. Been a while. I'm gonna have to wait, pause, then I go.
What's on your mind? Is something troubling you? A Grey Warden should put aside the person that he used to be. It has shaped the person that he is, But he has become something greater. Grey Wardens have no titles. They owe no allegiance to a king or lord. They cannot serve one people. They must serve them all and protect them all. You are one of the 2 surviving Grey Wardens in Ferelden. You defend all of us, and much rests on your shoulders. It may not mean much to you, but thank you for having the courage to continue to fight. And that gives me hope. Have you heard much about the Grey Wardens of old? Griffins. Alas, that seems to be the only thing people remember from the tales. The mighty flying mounts that bore the Grey Wardens into battle. Unfortunately, they've all passed back into the Maker's hand. So that wish will have to go unfulfilled. It was said that watching the Wardens ride in on their white griffins was enough to rouse a weary heart and put the dance back in the step of an old man. The Grey Wardens were powerful, feared and respected, but they also inspired the common people. I remember a tale that was told to me many years ago. The Blight had ravaged the land for months, and the armies of the great kings had amassed for one last stand. As the sun burst through the clouds that boiled and churned in the dark sky above, it illuminated a vast, seething horde of darkspawn, with the archdemon at its head. And it was then, when courage seemed to fail, and all lost to death and despair, that the Grey Wardens came. They arrived with the beating of wings like mighty war drums and stood before the armies of men. The Grey Wardens, grim and fearless, marched forth, ever between the men and the encroaching darkspawn. They formed a shield of their own bodies and held that line until the archdemon was dead and the last darkspawn lay trampled in the dirt. And then, demanding neither reward nor recognition for their sacrifice, the Grey Wardens departed. When the clouds finally rolled back and the sun shone full upon the blighted ground, the great kings knew that they had lost no men, and none of their blood had been spilled. This is a tale about no battle the Grey Wardens have fought, and yet about them all. They have always defended us from the Darkspawn, taking losses so we do not have to. People may have forgotten over the centuries, but nothing has changed. This knowledge has been blessing and burden to Grey Wardens past, and now it shall be your blessing and your burden. What's on your mind? No, you won't. No, it wouldn't, would it? Being a Grey Warden is in your blood now. You can't escape it. You wonder sometimes, don't you? If your life would be better if you weren't who you are. When I was a young woman in the tower, I came to the realization that the circle would be my life, and I would know no other. Family, love, a simple life. These were things that others took for granted, that I would never have. It made me very moody. All I could think of was being trapped in that tower with no way out and no end in sight. I started hating my life and myself, and one night I found myself in the tower's chapel. I was seeking refuge, maybe answers. I must have looked tearful or made some noise, because the revered mother came out and decided to speak to me. And because I had no one else to talk to, I talked to her. I must have said many silly things, but she told me that the Maker puts us all on our paths for a reason, and fighting our intended course is what causes so much anguish. I thought the old biddy was full of rubbish. I was 15, maybe 16, and I knew everything. So I left, but I always found my way back to that chapel. And as the years passed, I began to see the truth of her words. We were supposed to be polar opposites, mage and priest. But we weren't. There was much about us that was the same. The revered mother had lived in the chantry all her life, as I had been in the tower for all of mine. She taught me that you can find your family in the people around you, that you can love your work and find fulfillment in duty, and there is joy even in self-sacrifice. If you put others before yourself, then their well-being is yours, and their happiness is your happiness. You can scream and cry and be angry about life as a Grey Warden, or you can accept it and allow yourself to see the good in it. This is your choice. What's on your mind? I will answer to the best.
That's a wonderful thought.
Oh, marvelous.
Ooh, shiny.
I could get used to this, you know.
By my ancestors, this is a wonderful gift!
I could get used to this, you know.
That's a wonderful...
Is that for me? Really?
By my ancestors, this is a wonderful gift!
Oh, how dear of you. Thank you so much.
That looks fine indeed. Ass chaps. You there. Aye, you. I've been watching you. Where can I get some sauce for that rump roast? Nobody's perfect. You have a lot of nerve coming here. Problem? Oh, I got a problem. With your face. You keep it up and I'll fight you. I don't even care that you're some kind of wool-gnawing poetess. Your disguise can't fool me, woman. That's right. You keep looking at me like that. I'll just go get my pants from that sodding dog. Ass chaps. Hey, Warden, you gotta hear this one. This human walks into a tavern, and there's an elf there, and she says... she says... She says, I don't... Ass chaps. You saw it. Tell that thing to give it back. Only if by Ogren time. But I'll show him. Yeah, I don't need my pants anyway. Aye. You hear that?
Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind?
Something on your mind? Of course.
Ass chaps.
Are you sure I can't interest you in this hat? I'm sure you...
It speaks.
You called. I am hardly surprised. To put it lightly, no one has a place here. Your farmers wish to be merchants. The merchants dream of being nobles, and the nobles become warriors. No one is content to be who they are. Very well. As you wish.